Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Cult Cinema 83, and this is episode 26 of the Cult Cinema podcast. I have to pronounce it right, episode 26. And as you can see, I'm back with my, pretty much regular guest at this point, it seems, James from POLIZIOTTESCHI and GIALLI Reviews. James, how have you been?
I've been good. Yeah. Weather's finally starting to turn here, so enjoying that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, it's getting warmer here as well. The downside of that, though, is that we got ants, and there are like tons of them. So it's like,
no,
it's really they're everywhere. It's pretty crazy, but what can you do? But luckily it's getting warmer, so I'm happy you're getting better weather as well. So it's but you've been good. So you've been good since we last spoke.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So time for a new episode, of course, of the Cult Cinema podcast, episode 26. Quick update: it's the last episode probably before I go on summer hiatus because summer is just so insane with like work wise. I've got so many things going on. It's pretty crazy. Like I might be invited to a premiere at some point in a couple of weeks. I'm busy writing 2 books actually right now, which I hope to publish someday. Some other stuff going on. So it's like work is crazy. And 2 like events that I'm going to. So the summer is always very hectic. But I'm planning, of course, to come back in the fall, probably September, and we'll continue this thing, which is fun. But for now, episode 26 is what it is. And we thought we would go back to Hong Kong, which we don't do a lot, but it's fun to sort of jump over there at some point. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, these 2 places, Hong Kong, Italy, and along with Japan, are kind of like my favorites for kind of like the cult cinema international destinations.
Right, absolutely, and I plan on doing more Hong Kong stuff in the future. So because it's fun, and I'm starting to discover a lot more. So but yeah, no, it's great, and and given that teaser at CinemaCon this week, I think this week it was. There might be a video coming with a review on the new Godzilla movie. I'm just saying this year,
cool.
probably this year. It's like,
all right.
It's like the only thing I would say though is like, I don't know if you watched the teaser, but it's like, do you really want to bring Godzilla to America already? It's really like, I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but
I have not actually.
Oh, okay. Well, it's basically it's everywhere. So but there is basically a small scene where Godzilla is walking past the Statue of Liberty, and it's like, do you want to bring Godzilla over already to America? Like, I don't want like a second MonsterVerse or whatever. But we'll see what happens. But it looks very good.
Okay.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are talking about a director that I think we are both fans of, which is SOI CHEANG. Do I pronounce that right? SOI CHEANG? I probably butchered it, but
I'm probably slightly better than you at pronouncing these names, but I'm also not very good with the Cantonese names. So great. That's how I would have said it. I'll put it that way.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I just if there are any people from the Asian continent watching, I'm doing my best. My Asian is not the best, so I probably butchered it, so just bear with me. SOI CHEANG, that's what I go with. And we are discussing Accidents, and we are talking about Motorway. So before we go into the movies, just let's give some general thoughts. What was your first exposure to SOI CHEANG, and what was like the first movie that you watched from his catalog? Was it a later one or an earlier one? Can you give me a little bit of a background there?
Yeah. I think I watched Accident first, actually. I watched it when it came out in 2009, 2010 range. So when it got over here. and I believe that was my introduction to him. And I originally saw it as kind of like a Milkyway Images film because that's Johnny To's production company.
Yeah.
And so, and I think we'll talk a bit about that as we get into the films. But I was immediately struck by it. And so he became kind of a director I followed. So I saw Motorway when it came out in 2012. I think I went back and watched some of his earlier films too, although I struggle to remember in what order because we're talking now at this point, like 16, 17 years ago. So I don't know exactly in what order I watched them, but at this point I've seen most of his non-Monkey King movies, which I don't dare watch.
They're rough. Let's just say that. Yeah. They're rough.
I got 8 minutes into one and I was like, okay, I think this is a not for me. And so I turned it off.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it has its audiences and I'm like, that's good. I mean, I'm happy people like it, but it's like, that's not really for me. Yeah. But no, that's interesting. I think I saw the first one when I was probably 16 years old. You could still rent videos then or Blu-rays or whatever, DVDs probably. And I think the first one I saw, I think was Home Sweet Home, which is like, that's kind of like his horror movie, which I don't remember a lot about really, but so I should probably rewatch it at some point. But so I remember watching that, but I remember it being actually quite good. And then I started diving into it a little bit more, and then I discovered I think I saw Motorway before I saw Accident, and Motorway was just we'll get into Motorway, but it's all kinds of crazy. In terms of like what you can do with a car. But anyway, but yeah, I think it is a very interesting director because I think, wasn't he like sort of like, I think he was kind of like Johnny To's protege, right? From Milkyway.
I think he might have been. I mean, like, I think these two films are kind of what elevated him to a certain level, and he'd go on to do stuff outside of Milkyway, but he did a film for Milkyway just a couple of years ago too. Mad Fate. So he's not, he's not totally severed, but I think he's a little bit more of a free agent now. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, like, these films really do feel like kind of a marriage between SOI CHEANG's sensibilities as well as just the Milkyway images. It's hard to not see the Johnny Tonus in both of these movies.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. You can clearly see that some things had rubbed off on SOI CHEANG for sure. And you say like more of a free sort of, he's more of a free bird right now, but do you think that has to do with the fact that there isn't really like, I mean, Milky Way is pretty much non-existent at this point. I mean, the Hong Kong action thriller genre isn't what it used to be anymore. I mean, Johnny To has been talking for years about doing another sequel to Election, and he just can't seem to get it off the ground for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Election specifically, there are mainland censorship issues because it depicts triads, and that's obviously a very it's a topic that they won't necessarily approve. Right. And so I think they have a bit of a heavier hand there. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Milky Way Images and Johnny To, who is in his 70s now, have definitely scaled back. But I do think even just right after Motorway, you can see SOI CHEANG kind of branching out and doing his own thing. I don't know if you've seen SPL2, Time for Consequences. It's a really great action film that SOI CHEANG did. That's kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's a very good movie. So he has done, he's kind of done his thing apart from Milky Way too. He has a number of films I like that are not Milky Way movies as well, but these two in particular are, they're a really perfect marriage between the two sensibilities, as kind of said earlier.
Right. No, actually, I haven't seen it. I should look it up. That's interesting. I should look it up. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll look it up on Wikipedia and try to find it. So. Yeah. It just seems like the Hong Kong cinema might be a bit dying off at this point, and like you said, it might just be because of like, political turmoil or whatever it is. But it is what it is. At least we have these movies to talk about. So
and I mean, to his credit too. I mean, I think he's kind of become a like, I'm going to do 2 of these Monkey King films so I can do my own thing. So I don't know if you saw Limbo a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but that film is very Hong Kong, and I mean, like, that film is grimy as yeah. I mean, that is just like trash at that aesthetic. I mean, you can tell like he's like, man, I put up with a lot of stuff with these Monkey King movies. I'm gonna do my thing now. And that film I feel like is very Hong Kong and very, for me at least, it feels very uncompromising. I don't know if he had to make certain compromises with that, but you know, he to his credit, he is still putting out some pretty interesting, pretty distinctly kind of Hong Kong cinema stuff. It just is with a lot less frequency. If we look at what Johnny To was doing in the 2000s, where he's like directing 2 or 3 films per year, it's like we have nothing like that, unfortunately, right now.
No, it's that's unfortunate. I have seen Limbo, by the way, and it's fantastic. I
totally agree.
I'm still waiting for a release of that one, but you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Really? It's out over here. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think so. Either that or I'm getting Limbos confused, and maybe I'll order it and I'll get the wrong film. But I swear to God, it's out here. I'm not positive, but I think so.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'll look it up. Anyway, so it's probably time to dive into the movie. So, which one would you like to start with?
Let's do Accident.
Accident first. Okay, that's fine. All right. So, Accident. Like you said, it was released in 2009, I believe it was. Quick synopsis again. A troubled assassin who works by orchestrating accidents suspects an accident that happens to his team is no coincidence. Or is it? We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Anyway, Accident. You know, this is a very interesting film. I only rewatched it this week actually, and I'm not going to spoil my rating, but I'm actually a bit more down on this movie than I used to be. It's a very interesting film, but I do have certain problems with it. But we'll get to it anyway. So before we dive into positives and negatives, I'll throw it over to you. What are some of your general thoughts about Accident?
I really like it. I think it's a film that plays a lot to my specific sensibilities of what I like, of like these kind of cold, calculated thrillers. I think there are some legitimate criticisms you can definitely put towards it, but I think the way it's crafted in terms of its set pieces and its dark, twisty psychology, and it's just pure visual storytelling, I think it's it's a film that really works on a lot of cylinders for me. And it calls back. I mean, we'll talk about some of the maybe fairly obvious influences as we get into the film, but it calls back to some of my favorite films from like the 70s, perhaps too. I like it, and I think it's it feels like a Johnny To film in a lot of ways, but it goes, I think, a fair bit darker and more twisted. And I feel like that's kind of the SOI CHEANG coming in. And so, I mean, those are kind of my overall thoughts of the film. I think it's a very meticulously crafted, very well done movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Accident a lot, actually. I really do. Especially considering, like you said, how dark it gets. Especially in one particular area, it gets really dark, which goes into the psychology of it, that whole aspect, which I want to get into. That's one of my big points actually for this one. It's a very interesting film. I think it's incredibly well crafted, like you said. I just found on rewatching it this time that there are certain things that do bother me about it, or that I feel are inconsistent, like you said. But I think overall, it is a quality wise, it's a very solid movie that, like you said, has a lot of the Johnny To-ness, and but so like you said, SOI CHEANG takes it like to another level where it goes like even a bit more darker. I wouldn't say drug war dark, but you know, it's that's
yeah. Johnny To can turn it up if he has to, but you know, I think overall his average sensibilities are little bit lighter than Soi Chang's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Soi Chang, I feel like he wants to kill everyone at the end of every movie. That's the feeling I get.
Probably.
He should end the last Monkey King film that way, just murder everyone.
Right. Yeah. No, totally. It's yeah, it's very interesting. He's got he's a bit of a nihilist, I would assume, but you know, I don't know if that's true, but when you look at his movies, it's like, wow, that's delivering a punch for sure. But yeah, so let's just dive into it. So I'll throw it over to you. Let's start with positives. What are some of your positives when it comes to accidents?
Man, the set pieces are just great. I just love each one of the set pieces.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Soi Chang, which I'm sure you know, got his background in horror. And so I feel like you can sort of see that once you kind of know it, just the way that he crafts his set pieces, kind of like a slasher set piece in some ways. And it works perfectly with the Milky Way because they use kind of the setting of Hong Kong in like these original set pieces and stuff. Like if you've ever been there, it's a very crowded place. There's people all over the place. They have a certain look to it. And you really could only film this in a very specific locations. So I like the way that it uses just kind of the geography and the location filming in to create these just really, really awesome set pieces. And, you know, this is a tight movie. This is under 90 minutes, which both of these films are. And in those 90 minutes, you get a number of just, you know, show-stopping set pieces that would be like the best sequence that you would get in probably an average film, certainly an average Hollywood film. So I think the set pieces are definitely one thing that just immediately draws you in. And sort of like a horror film, it knows you start out with a bang. You start out with someone, you start out with just a fantastic accident that they all coordinate, and like it's all over within like 5 minutes or so. But it's like you see everything, and it's just all pure visual storytelling. I just love that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of visual storytelling as well. I'm always like show don't tell, and it's but yeah, I completely agree. Like the set pieces are like absolutely fantastic, and to add on top of that, I mean, I'll start with my positive as well, which kind of goes along with that. I mean, the accidents they're masterful. I mean, like whenever they set traps or whatever, like what they are doing and stuff, it's like it's so like meticulous, and it works on every level. It's like I think I think the one you mentioned, the opening one, I think that's my favorite one of the whole movie, because it's like, what is happening here? And then you can see like the wire going, and it's like, and then the glass breaks, and it's like wow, this is really like planned out so well. It's like really, it's insane. But also the way it's shot, the way Soi Chang sort of brings that to light, I almost want to say. It's really, I mean, just masterful. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just completely meticulous. You could tell everything's planned out. The montage, what it cuts to, each sequence after another, it's just really, really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So I'll start with one of my positives. I think, again, like with the Johnny To movies as well, I mean, the acting is top notch. It's just like the performances are so great. You know, you have Louis Ko as, of course, the brain.
Louis Koo.
Oh, Louis Koo? Oh, okay. There you go. You can correct me. Louis Koo. Louis Koo, is that how you pronounce it? Louis Koo?
Louis Koo, yeah.
Okay, Louis Koo. Sorry, Louis Koo. As the brain, of course, the very calculating leader of the organization, who's not perfect in his calculating, by the way, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But also you have Richie Yen back, of course, as Chan. I always love Richie Yen, whether it's in Exiled or Breaking News, which you already covered. He's fantastic. And then you have Michelle Ye. Is that how you pronounce it? Michelle Ye. As
Yi, I think is
Yi?
probably
Michelle Ye. Okay, Michelle Ye as the female co-worker, of course, of the brain. My favorite character, though, of this whole movie is Stanley Fung as Uncle. Uncle is just so... he is such a charming but very tragic character, and I want to get into the tragedy in a bit, but he's very charming and tragic character who you think, I mean, you assume that he's like the expert, you know, like in Hollywood, like the expert that always knows everything, and then they die because of like they make one mistake. Still, that's kind of like what Uncle feels like, and so he's kind of like the expert that knows everything, and still he is like very. You almost feel sorry for him in a way, because he sits in a wheelchair, and he's like, he always sort of like takes the back seat, it seems like, when the other ones go to work and stuff. But I love Uncle. Uncle is amazing. How do you feel about that character?
I think he's great. Yeah. And it's kind of funny to see him here, because this is actually one of my, I think it's played by Stanley Fung, who is, you know, a very prolific actor. He did a lot of work in the 80s and 90s. And in that period, he's like really kind of like a pervy old man, like a pervy middle-aged guy, where he's just like the sex pest that's like harassing all these women. So it's just kind of funny to see him. When I saw this film for the first time, I didn't know kind of his background is kind of like these stupid Hong Kong sex comedies. But yeah, he's great. He's really good. I mean, like, and I think that's a trademark of just the Milkyway images. They're just really good at like casting all these very memorable casts of faces. It's like, and I think that's a danger, especially when you're like, you know, you're watching a film from a different country and you haven't seen a lot. But in here, everyone's so distinct, different body types, different genders, different ages, that it works really well. You're not going to mix anyone up in their whole crew, and everyone's pretty good. I mean, the last person you didn't mention is Sweat Lamb, who is always great. Who always plays a character named Fatty.
Yeah. Who dies in this movie, by the way? It's like,
he does.
Why do you have to kill? Why do you have to kill? You know, why do you have to do that? Come on, why do you have to do that?
Well, that's SOI CHEANG. Johnny To would have let him live for at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting that you should say that. You know, characters playing the same characters playing different roles, which, I mean, that can work, and I'm all for that. And it's just, I don't know if you have ever seen a show called American Horror Story?
Actually, I have not.
Okay, well, anyway, that show has like each season has the same actors over and over again, and you would think that you know, that is like how it shows how diverse the actors are and stuff. But honestly, at some point, it gets kind of repetitive and dull. Yeah, at some point, you kind of want to see just new faces in there. And don't get me wrong, all the actors in that show, they're all fantastic. But just, you know, how many times can you cast the same actor for a different role? It's like, I don't know. In the same TV show, that's like, but I mean the Hong Kong, they pull it off, because, like, you know, we'll talk about it when we get to Motorway as well, but they really pull it off. I mean, they just have something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Italians too. It's like they just have a great collection of faces, and you know, there are varying calibers of actors. I think some are better than others. I mean, I like all the performers here too, but it's just like they're like, oh, that guy has an interesting face. Let's put him in. Yeah. So I feel like it's you know, and that's one trick you can do to do a lot with a little, in the sense that you may not have to have a high amount of dialogue, which neither of these films has, to develop characters. You can do it more through just visually. How people look and how you choose to shoot them. Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's and that speaks to the actor as well, the being able to act with just the face and stuff, facial expressions. So yeah, absolutely. So let me throw it back to you. What are some of the other things you appreciate about Accident?
Ooh, yeah. I'm
sure you have a lot.
I do. A lot of it is centered around the set pieces, but I do think there are some other elements that I like here a lot. I think the scores for both this film and Motorway are standout, especially when it comes to Hong Kong. You know, when we're talking about Italy, the scores are just they're pretty much all unanimously amazing.
Yeah.
But that's not quite the case in Hong Kong. But I think the scores here are both really good. I like the way they both suit the film. And they're kind of like nice and propulsive, but also kind of keep the correct darkish tone to both of these films. So I like the score that they did here.
Right. No, I completely agree. That was one of my points as well. I believe I'm going to butcher it again, but his name is Xavier Jamaux. I hope I pronounced that right. Xavier Jamaux. But his scores for both these movies are phenomenal. I mean, I have to say though, for Accident, he uses a lot more subtle tones, almost like the music is creeping up on you a little bit. In Motorway, it's much more bombastic and it's much more, fast paced. This is much more sort of under the radar music, where it's sort of like, again, it creeps up on you, and it's a lot more softer, but it has a sort of threatening theme to it. Do you agree? Does that sound strange? Or
no, I think that's totally right. I mean, this film has a kind of like, it does a lot of paranoia, and it does it very well. And I think the score does a lot of work there. I also like how it at some point starts to bring in more of kind of like these piano notes and these piano score, which reminds me to a film that, is inevitably going to be brought up here, The Conversation, with Gene Hackman and Francis Ford Coppola, which I think has its fingerprints all over the kind of influence of this film. So I like, I think it just, it's pretty perfect for what they're trying to do here.
Right. It's funny. I had that in my notes as well. The Conversation. I had it in my notes as well. So there you go. But yeah, no, I'm back. And by the way, I recently rewatched The Conversation. And you can, it's so clear. It's absolutely, he was influenced by that film by like so many miles. Yeah. It's like, you could tell, which is, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. As long as you put your own stamp on it and stuff, don't just copy it. But
it's also not the most imitated film. So, I mean, I think that's good. It's not like the French Connection and like the POLIZIOTTESCHI where the Italians made like 40 versions of it or something. It's like The Conversation. It's like, I don't know how many conversation influenced films you could say there are that are this close to it. Probably not too many.
No, I couldn't think of any really.
Yeah.
Maybe if I look very closely, but I think you can count them probably on one hand or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the only one that I could really think of. I mean, I'm sure the Indians did something, but I don't know that.
Unless you consider it to be like, because I saw this on Wikipedia and I found that so interesting. A lot of people put The Conversation in political thriller, the political thriller area. I don't think it is. I think it's much more like maybe a spy thriller, but that's where it ends. There's not like a lot of politics in the Conversation.
It's more like corporate thriller, I think, would probably be more
accurate. Yeah. It's not like it involves like, it's not like you're watching 3 Days of the Condor or whatever.
No, or All the President's Men. I mean, I see why people would lump it into that wave because it came out right in the middle of those films. But I think I would agree with you. Technically, it's really more of a corporate thriller than a political thriller.
Right. Yeah. So so let's get moving. Let's move on. I want to throw one of my positives out there, and this is actually one of the big ones that I wanted to talk about. And because we talked about the paranoia and the psychology that goes with it, this movie has one of the best twists I have ever seen in a movie. It's the ending is it's rough and it's brutal, but it's also just so heartbreaking. And I'm not talking about the main character. I'm not talking about the brain, because I'm talking about Uncle. It's, I mean, a bit of a personal note here. I have a family member who has Alzheimer's, who is suffering from Alzheimer's. And it's just such a bizarre and we really weird illness to witness. I mean, like there are it's a he, so I'll just say that. I'll keep the names private, but it's a he. But he remembers things from 30 years ago, and then and things that happened recently are just like they're gone. It's so unnerving to watch, and when you have a character like Uncle, who is like, he's like, at the start of the movie, he's suffering from something, but you just don't know really. You have a sort of like idea, but you don't really know for sure. So when it's revealed that his dementia is actually the thing that has caused the accident and an accidental death, which is, I mean, to me that's so heartbreaking, because it's not his fault. He's like, he just doesn't remember anymore. He doesn't remember screwing up, and when he does, there is like a moment where he starts to realize, and you can see it in his eyes. It's just, he's just tearing up because it comes back to him. And it's just, I don't know if it's like, because again, I have someone in my private circle that is going through that, but that just hits so hard for me. And it's really, I think it's speaking to SOI CHEANG. I mean, that's a really bold and brave move to put that in there, to give that twist, sort of. And it's just, even upon rewatching it, I find it mind-blowing. It's so brilliant. How do you feel about that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it very well. I think within the story, it's just very well set up. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, everything in this film is just so tight. It's like everything is in there for a reason. And it's like you see kind of his first slip up with the cigarette from the beginning. And so they're planting those seeds really early on. And then you just see his whole trajectory, and they're able to do it so economically, so efficiently in how it's done. Yeah, I mean, like, I appreciate how in this film you can just see everything going through people's minds, just like the moment it is happening. So yeah, I mean, it is really tragic. Yeah, I would say that's amongst the most tragic moments of the film. There are a number of them sprinkled through, but yeah, I mean, Uncle's trajectory. I mean, I think he survived, right? Is he like one of the only surviving characters of the film? But it's like it's very sad just what happens to the whole squad, really.
Yeah, and it's also not because it's like, it's not like a disease that's like, for example, cancer or whatever, because then it's pretty much a given that you are, if it's really aggressive, you tend to, you will probably die quickly, hopefully. But with Alzheimer's, it's like you're just sitting there and just withering away, like so slowly, and it's almost agonizing, and just to have a character who suffers from that, and to have like the flaws in his own sort of personality that causes the death of his co-workers or his friends. It's just it's rough. It's really rough to watch, but I think it's portrayed brilliantly here. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Stanley Fung is good in it, and he's like, unlike I think most of the rest of the cast, he's not as much of a Johnny Toe Milkyway image regular as these other guys. I think he's in one or two other films, but it's not as many as like Lamb Sweat or Louis Koo or Richie Jun, for that matter. So I think he does the old guy uncle role very well.
Yeah. He's brilliant. But that's what makes this movie for me in a big way. The twist is phenomenal. So I'll throw it back to you. What else can you say about Accident in terms of positives, or what you appreciate about it?
Yeah, I love the atmosphere in it too.
Mm.
I think especially in kind of the second act when they kind of have their job that they're trying to do with like the train and try to electrify them. Um, it's just really interesting just how they have to keep it boarding. It's a really great montage with the fantastic score playing over it. And then like the rain, it just adds this really like noir heavy, I guess more neo noir heavy ambiance to it that I think, it just works really well. Yeah, so I like that kind of middle section. I mean, this film, it really is tight. There's very little fat in the whole construction of the movie.
Right. Well, I have something to say about the what we call the fat, but I'll get to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like it's like you said, it does have a neo noir kind of vibe to it, and I have to say that's one of my favorite scenes as well. The one with the mission at night. I mean, the rain is like I don't know how many rain machines SOI CHEANG had, but it's like it's like a monsoon, a monsoon that's pouring down. It's like you almost can't see like any of the characters and stuff. It's really like it's just it's almost like this blanket of water that's just like coming down on everyone.
Yeah.
And it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially the way that SOI CHEANG films it with very little light and just on an open street with you don't see a lot, and it really helps with the mystery of the scene that's unfolding. So yeah, I totally agree. It's really great. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with my positives on this one. I do have some issues, so I would like to have I will let you finish first before we go into negatives or issues. I'll let you finish with any positives that you might have on this film.
Just one last one.
Okay.
Louis Koo, our lead, I think he's just really good.
Yeah.
Like he plays a role that he doesn't get to speak a lot. It's a very interior role, but he's able to portray that in just kind of this very cold calculate. We talk about this film being meticulous, and the character itself is also very meticulous. And I think he's really well just created by the creators, but also Louis Koo, who is just, is able to express those things in a very cold way. And I like Louis Koo as an actor in general. I think he's kind of part of that like last generation of pretty good Hong Kong actors. But he's one of those guys that can play the hero, but he's also really good playing kind of dark and cold. Like in Drug War, he plays kind of a villainous role. This film as well. Definitely kind of a darker role, anti-hero ish, but he's also perfectly capable of playing more of the heroic traditional roles too. So I think just wanted to shout him out because I think his performance is definitely pretty standout here. I mean, it's probably the most obvious performance because on the surface, at least, it's the lead. But I mean, when you're imitating a great film like The Conversation with a great actor like Gene Hackman, then you need someone really great to be able to even get in the same conversation with that. And I think Louis Koo is up to the part.
No. Louis Koo is fantastic, and again, he's apparently he's not the best at calculating because he didn't calculate his uncle, and look where it got him. It's he ends up dying at the end of the movie, which is like I guess sort of ironic for everything that's happened, but I like the way that sounds so weird, but I like the way how he dies, like alone in a staircase with just breathing and stuff, looking at out of the window, and just I do, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that he's almost glad to go. And I also think it's like harsh and ironic that it's like the guy stabbing him is like, why'd you do it? He still hasn't put it all together.
Right.
And basically Louis Koo isn't able to answer him. I mean, like he dies with no answers too. And it kind of shows where I don't know. Yeah. I mean, where Louis Koo was putting all this conspiracy stuff into things that wasn't in place. It's just very interesting. It's a very interesting twist on everything.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, Louis Koo is fantastic. He played. I think in Drug War he really was like, he was dark. I remember. Like, it's like, so he's more like the anti-hero here. I mean, he's like,
yeah,
at least thinks that he's doing the right thing for the most part. Where in Drug War he's still like just nasty gangster or whatever. I believe he was a gangster, right? I think.
Yeah, he's the guy they catch at the beginning, and so he feeds them information. And I mean, don't want to spoil that movie, but things he does not lead the cops down a path that saves a lot of lives.
No. exactly. Yeah. No, but Louis Koo is great. So yeah. So okay, if that was your last positive, I would like to start with some negatives on this one, because I do, like I said, I do have some issues with it, with Accident. I have a small one, like almost like a nitpick one. And then I have a really big one, which really bothered me this time around. So I'll start with the small one, okay? Because this is just a nitpick, really. This movie could have used a lot more accidents. It's just such a cool concept to have, with what it's going for. And I was like, and I was counting this time around when I was watching it, and it's like, and for the concept it goes for, it has a almost disappointing amount of actual accidents happening. And I was like, I just like, that's something, I just give me more accidents. Come on, give me more of those set pieces. I need them, It's like, does that make sense?
Oh, I mean, I would be down for it. I mean, the film is short, and I mean, I guess you could count like some of the hits that Louis Koo does at the end, like killing off his crew as accidents. But yeah, I mean, if they just tossed in something that was not unimportant to the plot in the middle, they have to pull another hit. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying no.
No. I would have loved a bit more, because, like you said, this movie is relatively short. Actually, it's like, by the way, I have the one from Chameleon Films, which is also where my Johnny Toe movies are coming from.
Okay, that's Australian, right?
So, yeah, they're doing fantastic work with these. It looks fantastic, but like you said, this is only like 87 minutes long. So it's not extremely like long in runtime or whatever. So so that's like one thing. I just give me a few more of those delicious set pieces. Come on. And but so that was like my small one. I'll let you, before I start with my big one, I'll let you start. What are some of your issues with the film, if you have any?
I guess I have two. One is more of a nitpick and one's bigger. So I'll start with my small one too. It's like, and in some ways these are related, but it's like, man, they had to kill that guy in such a terrible way. The guy had to like it too. They killed him like in front of like their client too, who is like so horrified that he ends up killing himself later. I'm like, did they really have to do it this way?
Yeah.
I mean, like it results in a great set piece, and it's kind of the core scene that sets up the rest of the film. But it's like, wow, it's like, what a terrible way to die, to like be screaming in pain while the client who has set this up just like watches horrified.
Yeah.
Knowing that they did this. I mean, Jesus, you're definitely scarring that guy. I mean,
right. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of goes what we were talking about, right? The Johnny Tonus of it. And this movie, it sometimes it goes places. It gets rough. What about the what I was saying, Michelle Yee? What about the Brain's female partner? I mean, the way that she goes is like, whoa, what in the car? With the like, what? It's like SOI CHEANG pulls no punches there. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's like, this person I have a long professional relationship. Not going to give her an easy death.
No,
Just
no,
bam.
exactly.
I mean, it's fast, I guess, but that is
Yeah.
brutal. Yeah.
Very. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So would you like to start with your big one, or shall I?
I suspect that ours are related, but we'll see.
Oh.
I think most of it has to do. The main complaints have to do with just the whole premise is a little absurd, and it requires a significant suspension of disbelief. Just like that, they're creating these like elaborate accidents. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just like crazy overkill, relying on different coincidences and things like that. It's
Yeah.
one where you can definitely overthink it. And if you're someone that likes to just kind of overthink the plot and stuff and do that, it's probably not going to be a 5-star film for you. So a lot of it does depend on kind of your suspension of disbelief. I think I'm a pretty good suspension of disbeliever, so I tend to forgive a lot of that stuff on my own.
Yeah.
But I think I can't tell you that this plot is remotely realistic or based off of a real world, even though it takes itself very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my kind of like more holistic, negative of the film.
Okay. We have two different ones, so there you
Okay.
go. But I can see what you're saying. I mean, it's like when you look at the accidents unfolding, I'll just say accidents. When you look at the accidents unfolding and you really look at it, it's like a lot of things have to go really, really well for this to work. And if there is like one screw up or one error, then your plan basically stinks. So yeah, like you said, it's very much suspension of disbelief, and I'm like you. I can suspend my disbelief for a lot of things. There are limits, of course. I mean, let's not talk about the Fast and the Furious, but it's like that's where I draw the line. But but I can suspend disbelief in a lot of ways. So I'm not bothered with that so much, but it's definitely noticeable when you watch it. It's like, yeah, a lot of things have to go right for this to work. It's like that's true. So okay, so let me start with my big one. We have different ones, which is interesting. So all right, here is my big one, and this is usually not a big problem for me, but it's so noticeable here. The pacing is so off with this one. And I don't want to say boring, because I don't like to use that word, but I mean, there are movies that are like slow burns, but this one it's dragging its feet like it's a zombie from burial ground, no pun intended. But it's I don't know, I felt like it's just really it takes so much time going through the motions. It's like it feels like you sit in a bus on a tour while waiting for the next accident. It's like that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like a bit of a wait and see situation, and I don't know what it is, but it feels to me it feels like they didn't have enough meat on the bones to fill up a proper narrative the way that SOI CHEANG means it to be or means to tell it. It's just really off kilter. That's how I felt about it. How do you look at that? How do you look at the pacing and that whole thing that I just described?
I think we're actually going to be off on this one, apart from each other. I didn't have a problem with it, really.
Okay.
I mean, I thought it was 87 minutes. I thought it was well done. I don't know. Do you have let me ask you this. Do you have a problem with the conversation and the way that's paced too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Interesting.
The conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like the perfect runtime and stuff. I mean, I guess you could chop off a few minutes here or there, but I didn't really have a big problem with the pacing. I thought there's a lot of stuff that happens there. I mean, would I have said no to another accident like you suggested? No, I would have green lighted that automatically. But yeah, no, I thought it was I thought it was a very clean 3-act structure sort of film, the way it was done.
Okay, interesting. It's interesting you say that you name the conversation, which is like, I think that's ultimately the thing. The conversation is basically, I believe that movie is 2 hours. I believe the or maybe a little bit less, 1 hour 40 minutes, something like that. I believe. Anyway,
hour 53. So
yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. So I mean, the conversation is basically a lot. Basically, that's all people talking. Talking in rooms, listening to each other. And if there is compelling narrative, and a conversation, that's like I can really enjoy that. I think that's the problem that I have with accidents. Accident is like because you are including these set pieces that are supposed to be like action driven. Let's just say action driven. It feels, I don't want to say distraction, but it feels a little bit off balance with what the actual narrative is of what you're trying to say or what you're trying to tell. And usually the action is meant as a distraction. I don't know. It felt kind of off this time. It felt kind of weird. That's all I'm saying. So
interesting.
It's noticeable. Maybe if I rewatch it like 2 years from now, I feel differently about it. But it's just like, it was noticeable. Let's just say that noticeable. So
okay. I mean, I kind of get that sometimes in some Johnny Toe films, where it's just like, man, this is really well done, but I'm just like, the pace just feels like it's lacking some sort of like propulsiveness or energy. But this is not one of the films I have that problem with. So that is interesting.
Okay.
But I could definitely see that in some of the Milkyway films.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. It's just something that I noticed this time around. So so I'm pretty much done with my negatives on this one. Do you have anything more to say about Accident?
I do not.
Okay. So I think we're done. Then I think we can go into ratings on this one. So do you want to start? Should I?
I can start.
Okay.
I really like this film. I suspect I like this film more than most people. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. That's I can understand that. I can see it. And look, there is a lot of things. It has a lot of things going for it. It really does. It's I don't know. I guess the issues, and especially the big issue that I had with it, was sticking out more than I thought it was, because the last time I saw this movie, I think it was like 2.5 years ago, I think. So, it wasn't really fresh in my mind. It's a very interesting watch. So, for me, I'm lower than yours, but I'm like not super negative about it. I still enjoy this movie. I enjoy watching it. It's just I don't know. It was something about it this time, I guess. So my rating is a bit lower than yours. I'm going to give Accident from 2009. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
And again, maybe upon rewatching it, I'll feel differently. But it's just So 7 out of 10, and you have a 9, right? 9.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. All right, so that was Accident. Then we can move to Motorway, I guess, from 2012.
Yep.
Motorway, or just the car chase movie. That's not the best way to describe it. Anyway, we'll get into all of that. So Motorway from 2012. Again, quick synopsis here. A rookie cop takes a veteran escape driver in a death-defying showdown on the streets of Hong Kong when they go after a duo of black market handlers. Yes, that's pretty much what it is. So, Motorway. So before we go into positives and negatives again, I'll let you start again. What are some of your general thoughts with Motorway?
I mean, it's the rare Hong Kong action film that is extremely car-based. Surely that it sets it apart. So I mean, I feel like sort of like Accident, this has a lot of the trademarks of both SOI CHEANG as well as Milkyway. So I think a lot of the appreciation of this film is similar to Accident in the sense that it comes from the craftsmanship. I feel like in this case, though, it's a little bit more distilled down to a little bit simpler story, a little bit more of a even simpler, smaller cast than that one. So yeah, I mean, I generally am a fan of all of those things that I just listed above. So it should be no surprise to anyone that I do like the film. But yeah, it's interesting to see Hong Kong, a place not known for car stunts, and for having an extremely dense city too, use that kind of car canvas to create a pretty interesting movie.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. By the way, I should start by saying this: I'm very high on Motorway. I love this movie for several reasons, which we'll get into. But this is like, this movie is just basically one big car chase movie, and it's so. Let me start with. We'll get into that, but it's basically one big car chase movie, and it's so interesting because apparently they were not allowed to shoot all of those car chases, so they did it like off the cuff or at night or whatever. Right? Do I remember that correctly? Is that like what it was?
I've not done as much research as you, but that sounds 100% plausible based off of what I've heard about the Hong Kong film industry. So I'm going to trust that you are correct there.
At least I think I wrote up on that. They couldn't they weren't allowed to. That's why you don't see car chases in for example, the big populated areas, that they could only shoot like chase scenes on the highway and stuff like that, So, yeah. But I mean, SOI CHEANG makes it work. He really does. Because let me just go into my first positive, if I can start with this one.
Go for it.
Okay, my first positive is like the car chases are just. They are not just phenomenal, they are delicious. And it's so interesting. I mean, I don't want to take away anything from our hero Remy Julian, but it's the way that SOI CHEANG makes these car chases work is just so mind-blowing to me. I mean, because it's basically just cars chasing each other. I mean, there aren't like you say, you call it like death boxes and stuff. There aren't like cars crashing into each other or whatever, or creating like traffic wrecks or whatever, like we see in the Poliziotteschi or whatever. But what SOI CHEANG does with these car chases is just so. It looks so gorgeous, and I don't know how he did it, but considering all of the restraints that he had, but every single chase in this movie works perfectly, and it just speaks to the craftsmanship of it. My favorite chase scene of this whole movie is actually the one where the two bad guys are escaping the police station, where you get sort of like, that's the only car chase that you see that actually goes like through downtown or whatever. That's my favorite chase of the whole movie. It's great. So what do you think about the car chases and all of that stuff?
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, it's definitely the best Hong Kong car chase film ever. And I mean, I think even if you don't appreciate or enjoy this film or Accident, which I could understand either film, really, you have to appreciate how good the craftsmanship that goes into this is. And I mean, like, yeah, the way that they shoot the car chase scenes, the way the music comes together, I think the music is maybe even on another level from Accident too. And it's just very, very impressive, just everything that they do, all the different car chase scenes. My particular favorite, I guess it's not a car chase scene, but it's the parking garage scene at the end, which is almost like a horror sequence where like the slasher is coming out of the darkness, and the way that they just dim the lights and stuff. I mean, the craftsmanship is just phenomenal in this film. This film, I mean, you said that you like it quite a bit. I like this film a lot too. I like it a little bit less than Accident, but I do like it a lot. This one is one that I've slowly come up on. over the years. I think this is the third time I've seen it, because I'm just not naturally as much of a car chase film for Hong Kong stuff, but I've come to kind of really enjoy just how the film is made and the way they put together all these different sequences. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely not like when you have Remy Julian and you have like flying cars or like cars crashing into each other or stuff. It's not like, it's not action based like that, but it just in terms of what the chase scenes are, it works so well. It really works so well for what it does. And yeah. Absolutely. So let me throw it over to you. What are some of your positives with Motorway?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a little bit about the car park, and I think this film in general is where you see the SOI CHEANG horror director stuff come out of the woodwork a bit. Just the way that a lot of the scenes are at night. Part of that, like a lot of horror films, is practicality, but it adds a certain atmosphere and kind of eeriness to kind of the events that are happening, like the police breakout. I think that stuff is all really well done. But yeah, that car park sequence at the end where it's like, that this driver, the villain driver, is just a mastermind. He's just really good at doing these sorts of mastermind's the wrong word. He's just a master driver. He's just really good at what he's doing. And these cops are just screwed. They're kind of like these sorority girls or whatever in a horror film. They're like, so like the Shawn character is like, don't go out there. And they're like, what? Turn off my lights. And then all of a sudden, bam, he takes you out. So I love that sequence and love how it kind of leads to its climactic chase scene too. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to say that one of the set pieces is the thing that I like the most about the film.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like, even when I forgot the guy's name, but even when the guy goes, to his secret hideout with his boat across the bay, and he's going through his, like, his whole collection of cars, and it's like, it's like, oh, I'm going to break, if I'm going to break out someone, I'm going to need this car. It's just really, like, it's really smart the way that it portrays it. And absolutely. So yeah, let me just add on top of that for my next positive there. Again, the casting is like, what can I say about it? I mean, I'm just going to start with my big hero here. It's Anthony Wong is back. Oh. And it's like, and I love his character in this one. He's much more this time around. He is really just the friendly 100% good guy cop that like is absolutely just kind-hearted and honest and stuff. And sort of like, of course, the mentor to the main character, Chung, who is also his colleague. He keeps talking about retirement, and it's like,
that idea. Don't talk about that if you're in a movie.
Yeah. He's so fun about it. He's like, he's looking forward to it, but he's like joking about it as well. He's like, I love that scene where he sits on the bench with his wife, and they have soup, and they are basically talking like, so where are we going to retire? To Palau? Oh, we can go to Lalau or Mimau or whatever. He just cracks word jokes about like where they are going to retire. It's so great. And by the way, his wife, played by again Michelle Yee, is like, every time I look at that when his wife is introduced, I was like, damn, I mean, you did well, Lo. You did well. I mean, first of all, she is gorgeous, but she is funny, and just you can honestly, that you can clearly tell they have been a couple for a long time, and and even she tries to help him stop smoking, but then when she's leaving after soup, he's like, you know what, here, just take this cigarette, we'll do it later. And so I love that as well, the sort of like the mixture of that, the chemistry between them. But but yeah, no, I mean, Lo is great. Anthony Wong as Lo is great, and you know, he makes jokes about his iced tea that he should have put like what was it again, goji berries or whatever in it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and no, I love Anthony Wong, his performance and his character in this one. And then SOI CHEANG does the impossible. It's like, you don't kill off Anthony Wong. SOI CHEANG, you don't kill. That's the one.
He's like a dog. If you kill him off, your audience rating just goes down.
Why? I mean, come on. What's your thought on Anthony Wong?
I mean, I had the same thought. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, Anthony Wong is the best. I think he's by far the best actor in this film. I think this cast is a little bit less loaded than Accident is, but Anthony Wong is just an amazing actor. I mean, it's also just funny that he was so typecast as these Category 3 villains, like 20 years before this. But he just shows you what a great actor he is. I mean, like, he has all the gravitas. He holds the screen. He's perfect for the Johnny Toe, Milkyway Images films because he doesn't have to talk that much just to kind of show his character and who he is. I mean, he's just perfect. I don't know if your mind went to here, and you're probably the only person I could make this reference to. But Motorway, in many ways, is very surface level similar to the Maurizio Merli film Highway Racer, 1977. If you've seen that, that was in the Arrow box set that came out, where you have like the drivers. I was like, after I saw the Highway Racer, I just can't unsee the connection between them. So my mind always is like Anthony Wong playing like the mentor character. There's a mentor character in that film too. So I thought that was kind of funny too. Funny connection.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess a little bit, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could say a little bit that it has connections with that one. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Wong is just like, I keep hoping that I will meet him at a like an event or a con at some point. It's just like, fingers crossed. It will probably never happen, but you know, it is.
If you do, I think he'd rather talk about these films than the Untold Story.
honestly, yes, I think he does. Because it's just, you know, he cracks jokes and stuff, but his character in this film is just so much more serious. It's a lot more. I think a role like this is something that you can dig your teeth in a lot more when it comes to your acting skills. You know, if you're in a horror movie, you're just like, oh, I just have to run and scream and maybe kill some people.
Yeah.
And here it's
I mean, in his case, chop people up and make them into dumplings.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Or spray people with Ebola.
Ebola.
Yeah, there you go. But
if you see him, don't start shouting Ebola at him.
No, exactly. But no, I think he would rather talk about this. But no, he's so phenomenal in this. I keep saying it. One of my favorite scenes, and then we move on. One of my favorite scenes with him is when they are sitting with the camera because Chung has been denied a car. They're sitting with the camera and he's in the sun and he has his sort of like, how do you call that? The thing that keeps you cool. Which he waves. I don't know how you call it, but anyway. And then he sees like Chung stressing out, and then he waves the thing at him. It's like, just relax. It's so great. It's really great. Anyway, so let's move on. What are some of your other positives about Motorway?
You know, another thing that's kind of fun about the film too is in some ways it follows that classic structure of like a Hong Kong martial arts film where there's like a master and he gets taken under the wing by like the Sifu, which in this case would be Anthony Wong, and he gets taught and eventually he kind of overcomes stuff. So I thought that was kind of a fun little structural thing. My mind went there. I think that'd be a positive just because it's just a very classic kind of Hong Kong plot structure to it, but it's just put into a very, very different setting. I mean, I love the Hong Kong aspects of it, and that's the thing I like about a lot of the Milkyway Images films in general, is just the way they use Hong Kong. And my favorite too is just when they are going through the city and it does feel distinctly Hong Kong. I guess the thing about the driving, sorry, I'm just riffing off stuff right now, but I think the driving that's cool and probably distinct to Hong Kong is how like a big part of it is less about like the let's go fast. It's like, how do we properly parallel park or make our way through these like little tight spaces that are very, very distinctly Hong Kong, and like just maneuver our cars just really perfectly. I think that's really interesting and just definitely something that sets it apart from the just go really fast and wreck things car films.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. By the way, since you're talking about cars, let me ask you something, because on a sidetrack, because you've been to Hong Kong, right? So,
yes.
Okay. When they are the cars in this movie, when they are driving and they are actually in the byriders, how do you call it? The on the not the driver's seat, the other one, and the steering wheel is on the right. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's an old British colony, so they drive. Yeah, so they drive the other side of the road from us in America, at least, and probably from you too. I think.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, everything is flipped.
Okay,
yeah.
everything. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Yeah. Did they make that up, or what was that? Anyway.
Yeah. Makes me wonder about China. I think China is more like the normal way. So yeah, but yeah, in Hong Kong, everything is definitely flipped.
Right. But I mean, but to go along with what you said, I mean, like the sort of the student mentor thing. I mean, that also comes along with the fact that, of course, at some point the mentor has to die, so that the student can come into his own a little bit. So that's also, of course, a very big thing here. And we see at the end of the movie that he has learned from Lo. So he is. He even learned the trick that like only Lo and the criminals could do. So that's yeah. So but yeah, I mean the rest of the cast as well. I mean Shawn Yu, is that how you pronounce it? I think he's great as well. But he's kind of like the typical reckless, stubborn, needing to prove himself and be better than everyone kind of guy. Very reckless in the way he does things. He wants results before thinking about it, stuff like that. So he's pretty great as well. You have Josie Ho return, who we had in Exiled, of course. She doesn't have like as big of a role as he did in Exiled. Here she's more like the police captain, I guess. But she does what she does, which is pretty good. And Gordon Lamb is there. Again, not playing the nasty bad guy or whatever. He's the respectable police commander, Yeah. So the cast is pretty great.
Yeah, I feel like those two, Gordon Lamb and Josie Ho, are both just like, we're playing professionals in this film, and they just play it pretty much straight down the line. And I'm glad to have them around. It's just nice to have some of those faces too, even though they're kind of maybe not the juiciest parts, let's say.
No. I mean, they're definitely more side characters or whatever. But for what they do, they are. I always like to see those actors,
Yeah.
So yeah. So what else can we say about Motorway? Do you have any more positives?
The when it does veer away from car action, well, maybe this is still car action, but the set piece in the end where the robbers fight the other. The Dutch gang is what they call them for some reason. I'm not totally sure why. But that one, that's a nice set piece too. And I did notice that this film was choreographed by Chin Carlock, who is kind of one of those old school stunt guys. Like kind of came into the same era as like Sammo Hung, Jackie Chan. So it's interesting and fun to just see it kind of carry over into just a very, very different context. So yeah. I like that sequence too. I think it's a nice one, and it's kind of a change of pace because we just do car the whole time. It can get a little bit monotonous. So I appreciate how it mixes that up. And I mean, we both talked about the craftsmanship repeatedly for both these films, but I think when these guys decide to do something, they do it very well, like in terms of set piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And the proof is in the pudding, because I believe this movie won a Golden Horse Award for best action choreography. So there you go. Which, I mean, it really deserves, because it's just again, it's fantastic. But to go along with that, what you're saying, about the plot being like a little bit like more flat and stuff. That's actually one of the elements that I really like about it. Is like the story is just very simplistic. It's basically about they have to chase these two thugs who want to they want to sell this like uncut diamond, or raw uncut diamond, or however you want to call it, and they want to sell it on the black market and get rich. Okay,
fine. Don't need anything more. Yeah,
that's all I need. Thank you. That's all I need. I don't need anything more. So it's a very simple premise, but for this film, I think it works. And the interesting thing is that it does connect with the main heroes, because Lo, of course, has a history with one of the main thugs in this film as well. So that sort of ties in to each other very nicely, which I like. So yeah, I think for me the plot it works. I mean, I don't need like multi-level thematic stuff all the time. So for a movie like this, I can go with like a more simple plot.
It's efficient and it's simple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So I think I have one more positive. So I'll let you continue first. Do you have anything more that you appreciate about Motorway?
I think we got most of it. I just have one quick last one. I think the criminals, again, it's kind of like what we're talking about. They're good faces. I don't know if you noticed, but they are speaking Mandarin. So the implication is that these guys came from the mainland, which is, of course, a reoccurring theme in a certain era of Hong Kong. Yeah. I think this might be towards the end of where you have the mainlanders coming over. I mean, these days it's like other foreigners, Japanese or something like that. That's causing all the trouble. But yeah, I mean, I thought they were good faces. Again, they're not roles where we get flashbacks where we have an over dramatic scene where he's like hugging his kid or anything like that. Yeah. And I'm glad we don't have it, because we don't need it. It's simple, it's efficient, and it works well. And I think the people that play the criminals are just kind of the cold-blooded professionals, and I think it works very well for the tone of the film.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, I like the two thugs, the characters. I'm not really very clear on the actors right now. I don't know who plays them, but
I'm not familiar with them either. Yeah.
But to go along with that, like like you said, coming from the crossing over from the mainland and stuff, it's like they do hint at that. They do hint at that a little bit in this film, because the main antagonist, he always takes his boat back and forth. Like there is like a boat that takes people back and forth. So maybe that's what the that's what the metaphor was. So but. No, I didn't notice they speak. I mean, again, I don't speak like Asian languages, so I'm unfamiliar with Mandarin. So but
sure.
Yeah. So
I know just enough to understand the differences when they're speaking. So
okay,
I couldn't understand what they're saying, but I can understand they're speaking Mandarin.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Fair enough. So one last positive for me, anyway, and then we can talk about some negatives if we have them. I just want to mention again, Xavier Jamaux. I'm just going to keep saying it. Xavier Jamaux, his score, like we talked about it already with Accident. The soundtrack is just, it's great. Like I said, it's a lot more bombastic in Motorway. There's a lot more, it almost feels like a rock and roll in certain areas, especially with the car chases and stuff. So it's a lot more, grotesque or what you want to call for it, bombastic. But for what he's trying to do with the music and the action, I think it works in line very well with the images. Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think the soundtracks are highlights in both of these films, in a way that they usually are not for Hong Kong films.
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of like my last positive that I wanted to mention. So there are two things about this movie that I find interesting. Let's just say that. You mind if I start with my first one?
Go for it.
Okay. So my first one, and these are not like, they're not big ones. They're small ones, but they are noticeable. I don't care for the nurse at all. It's like the nurse character, you know who I'm talking about, right? The sort of, I guess, the sort of love interest for Chung, I guess. I don't like the character. I know she is sort of like this career woman, but she is so uptight and arrogant, and she knows everything better than everyone else, you know, which really shows itself in the billiard scene where they play like pool and stuff. And I don't know. I never find myself able to gravitate towards this character. You know, and she walks on high heels and stuff in the middle of the street, like as a nurse. Like, what is that? Anyway, I don't know what it is. I just can't gravitate towards it. How do you feel about the nurse character?
I mean, if you need to take a pee break in the middle, that's the time to take the pee break for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's not the strongest part of the film. I mean, I kind of like how it kind of does a nice little endpoint of the film of showing the character's growth, but it's not the most essential part. If you're cutting stuff, you're cutting that for sure. Like, I wouldn't have had a problem if they just cut at the guy cuffing the criminal, and you know, you don't need that scene at the end necessarily. I think it's pretty clear that the guy has learned some stuff. I don't have a massive problem with it, but it's not what makes the film what it is.
Right, absolutely. And I will go to my second negative, and then I'll let you go. My second negative is a little bit bigger, but it's not really a big problem. It's just a question: how does a hothead and loose cannon like Chung ever join the police force? It's like didn't they like properly like put him through like the system or whatever? Maybe this is a guy we should ask some questions to, because he's so reckless and just such a lone wolf and stuff in the way that he does things. I mean, he has like, I think at the start of the movie, he already has like 2 fights with his police commander. It's like, do you really want a guy like that on your police force? Really? I guess it's good conflict, but you know, it's just something that I noticed now this time around. How do you feel about that whole angle? It's like, have you ever wondered, like, why is Chung on the police force?
I think it's a completely fair point. Definitely some movie tropes going on there to have this very flawed, if to put it very kindly, cop on the force.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, if Lowe wasn't there, he probably would have like kamikazed himself like 100 times already.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny to see that. I mean, again, these aren't big negatives. They're just things I noticed this time around. You know, it's like, that's interesting. You know, so. Anyway, I'll throw it over to you because those were really my only negatives. So I'll throw it over to you. Do you have any issues with Motorway?
You know, I don't have huge issues. Ironically enough, the film moves a little bit more slow for me than Accident does, which is kind of funny because you had the opposite complaint. But I don't know if that would really be a criticism of the film. I mean, the film is 87 minutes like Accident, so it's a pretty lean, mean machine. I think the main thing for me that it's not a huge complaint. In fact, I don't mind them that much, but I do think they are weaker than the average Milky Way actor. And Shawn Yua, I just don't know that he is quite as charismatic as like your Louis Kuz or someone like that. And I mean, like Anthony Wong, I think is just such a phenomenal actor that I think the contrast between how good they are bothers me a little bit. I almost wish that we had someone else with a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more likability. He plays it so sour too throughout the film. He's not a very likable character in general. And I mean, part of that's by design. I get it. But I do wonder if the film would have been a little bit better if we had someone else in that main role. Not that he's bad. I think he mostly functions fine in the film. I just don't think he stands out that much.
No, I can see that. I mean, it's like the problem is though you want a young actor for the role. I mean, it's not like you can put Nick Chung in it or something, you know, from Breaking News or whatever. So it's I imagine it was pretty hard to find a good actor for that. But I agree. I mean, Shawn Yu is. I mean, and maybe it's because of the amazingness of Anthony Wong, but that sort of overshadows the other performance. But it's definitely noticeable that his performance is not as strong as you might want.
And I mean, maybe that's just a problem with the Hong Kong film industry too. I mean, I think a lot has been said about like the next generation that just never quite appeared. Like where you have this previous generation of like people like Gordon Lamb who are in this film, but you can't have Gordon Lamb playing like a young cop at a certain point. So you have to have someone new. And, you know, that generation just never really came in this gap in Hong Kong. Like you have your boomers who did a lot of stuff, really great work, John Woo and those people. Then you have like your next Gen Xers, and that's a lot of actors that are in these Milky Way films. And then the next generation just never quite came along talent-wise. And maybe part of that circumstance, I don't know. But I think I think someone I think there's something a little bit missing for that young cop performance for me.
Right. Yeah. It is interesting. The next generation just never came, I guess. So you know, it is maybe that's because the Hong Kong industry isn't what it used to be anymore.
Definitely could be. Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but anyway. So do you have anything more to add on Motorway?
Not a lot. I mean, I liked just a lot of details of the film, how they shoot all the sequences. I like too how they don't need to spell everything out. It's like the boat at the end is just kind of like, here's the sirens. You're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I like that moment where you just see him go and you're like, oh, okay. He didn't have to say anything. He just like started his boat and he got going. So I liked just a lot of moments like that where it's like they don't need to say too much, or even like the kind of poetic ending where he just cuffs the guy, takes out his car keys and throws them in the water. I think those are like really nice visual cinematic touches that elevate this film from what it could be otherwise.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Again, show don't tell. And exactly. Like you said, the one with the boat leaving is like, I don't need my $1 million diamond. You know, you can keep that, whatever. It's fine. You know, I agree. It's again, show don't tell. It's really great. So yeah, completely. So I think I'm pretty much done with my points, everything about it. So, by the way, again, I have it from Chameleon Films. So there you go. And there is a really great interview with Anthony Wong on this. So that's
great.
Cool.
Okay.
So, and
recent interview or from like when the film came out?
I think it's like archival.
Okay.
Yeah, it's archival. It's from earlier on. So probably from like from 2010 or whatever, I think. So
sure.
No, but it's still interesting to hear Anthony Wong talk, you know. So yeah. But from Chameleon Films. So do you have anything more to add, or should we go into ratings?
Just one last point. the Soi Chiang-ness of this film, I think we talked a little bit less about him on this film. It's just like a little bit meaner than it has to be. They kill Anthony Wong. They're just, part of you is like, maybe these criminals have a little bit of the heart of gold. They're shown in a fairly dignified way, but no, they're just mowing down police officers, mowing down random people, stuff like that. I like that mean-spiritedness that Soi Chiang brings. So it's just, it's well crafted, but it's also just like 30% meaner than it has to be. And I'm here for it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a funny. I mean, would you recommend Soi Chiang's films or Johnny To's films to newer audiences? Because I mean, they're very similar, but Soi Chiang it just goes in a certain meanness almost, where it's like, I don't.
I think if you're a horror cult cinema fan, Soi Chiang would work pretty well.
Right.
But I think for the average person, probably Johnny To though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. I think Johnny To has also become a bit more mainstream. There aren't a lot of movies that you wouldn't like, I feel like. So
yeah. I mean, he can go dark. Like Johnny To has done so many films that it's like a little difficult to pigeonhole him. But I mean, like I think he's done something for everyone. I mean, he's done like a dozen rom-coms for God's sakes, half of which I've not seen. So I don't even know how good those are. But I assume they're decent, at least considering it's Johnny To.
I'm sure they are. Yeah. But yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's a bit more mainstream. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm pretty much done as well, so we can go into ratings on Motorway. Do you mind if I take this one first?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So Motorway from 2012. I'm such a big fan of this movie. I love this movie, and I find the funny thing is I find myself I'm like you. I don't watch movies a lot in like a year or 2 years or whatever. This is one of those movies that is like, it's almost like comfort food. I find myself coming back to this movie like multiple times a year. And,
wow.
And every time I watch it, I think it's fantastic. I'm never bored with it. I'm never like thinking like, oh well, this should have been a little different or whatever. It's so constant. And maybe it's because the simplicity of it. Maybe that's what it is. But I just find this movie so amazingly delicious and enjoyable to watch. I don't know. I just keep coming back to it. I'm a really big fan of this movie. I really am. And there are things that you can nitpick at, but overall, I think this is really great. So I'm going where you were on the previous one. I'm going to give Motorway from 2012. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Wow. Is this your favorite Soi Chiang film then?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it is. Yeah. It's just I find very little wrong with it. I really do. It's just, and again, maybe it's the simplistic nature of it, but I just I really, really enjoy this movie. So yeah, 9 out of 10. That's for me for Motorway. I'll throw it over to you.
For me, it is an 8 out of 10. So I'm just a little bit beneath you. Yeah, it's Accident, ironically enough, is my favorite Soi Chiang film. So we're kind of flip-flopped on these.
Okay.
I really like it too. I think it just, it's a perfect marriage between Johnny To and Milkyway and Soi Chiang and his darker sensibilities. But just the meticulousness and the craftsmanship that go into creating all these different sequences, like these guys know how to do it, and their budgets are not Hollywood budgets. So I just find it all just extremely impressive what they are able to craft.
Well, we already talked about it, I think, in our Johnny To podcast, where we talked about budgets and stuff. I mean, Godzilla -1 made for $20 million. I mean, it's like, but I find it so weird that, I don't want to burn Hollywood or whatever, but I find it so weird in the time where we are at, where Hollywood thinks that they can't make good movies anymore that go for like a lesser or smaller budget. It's so, I find it so hard to grasp, because if you go back to the 80s or 90s or whatever, or even this from the 2000s, I mean, these movies were made for like $10 million, maybe 12, maybe if you have action movies. But I don't know. Have you ever thought about that as a last thing before we close off? Have you ever thought about it? What do you think that is about?
Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, I feel like these international industries, Hong Kong as well as Italy, always just were able, there's like a scrappy sensibility that really appeals to me about how we're just always putting it together. I mean, like Hollywood has always been bigger than those guys. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like these days, I mean, Hollywood's still around and alive, but you know, you can't help but notice the blow. I mean, especially when it comes to like how big the budgets can be in some of these films. It's like, how do you look? It's embarrassing how bad they look and how bad the set pieces are compared to stuff that people make internationally, as well as films that they used to make in like the 80s or the 90s. I mean, like you watch like an average 90s Hollywood thriller and it looks way better than stuff that's coming out now. So, I mean, like, I hate to be that guy of like, they just don't make them like they used to, but there's something like that just does not do it for me in a lot of modern productions these days.
Right. Well, I mean, to take it to my country bit. I mean, I recently rewatched, just as an example, I recently rewatched Basic Instinct.
Okay. Yeah.
From Paul Verhoeven. Have you? I take it you've seen that. So
of course, yeah.
It's in my top. It's in my top 10 of favorite movies of all time. I love Basic Instinct. But even upon rewatching that movie, there is a sort of natural flavor to it that is just it's not like, it doesn't feel, I almost want to say, artificial. Whereas like and I get it. I mean, a lot of the modern day stuff is like really effects driven and, you know, stuff like that, digital. But it's like, how is that your economic model? It's like, if you look at a movie like, for example, I don't know, Oppenheimer. That movie had to make like at least 700 million just to break even, and then you have to still make profit out of it. Whereas, like, if you have a movie of, like, for example, I'll just say Motorway. Let's say Motorway is made for $10 million. Let's just say that. I don't know what the budget is, but let's just say that Motorway is made for $10 million. It's much easier to make a profit out of a movie like that than having to like bounce back from like a $200 million depth. I just don't get it. But it's then again, I'm not an economist, so you know, I'm not sure. I don't know, but I guess sometimes it's frustrating to see it happen, you know, where it's like you have proven that it can be done, and now you're just, I don't know. It is what it is.
So, I mean, I would be surprised if this film even cost $1 million to make, to be honest.
Maybe.
From what I know. I don't think it's publicly available, so we can't say, but I mean, like, I think we can probably all agree that it was a fraction of a Hollywood budget at the time, and definitely now.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, but that's why I always keep gravitating towards this stuff, especially nowadays. So, you know, it is what it is. Well, yeah. What can you do about it? Anyway, so I think we pretty much covered everything we were going to talk about. So I think it's time we close this off again. This has been a very fun episode. I'm planning to do more Hong Kong stuff in the future because I'm really opening up to it. I'm warming up to it. It's really, you know, there's a lot of stuff there.
Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff, and I don't even think we've touched films from like the golden era, 80s and 90s. I mean, so many things then.
Yeah. Well, I'll just show it to you before. I'm not going to talk about it that much, but today this arrived at my doorstep.
Man, I watched that at a local theater a week and a half ago.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So this arrived literally today at my doorstep. So I still have to watch it, but you know.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, no, I have seen it, but not in the Arrow release.
Yeah.
So and but apparently we're going to get a lot of rain tomorrow, so that gives me plenty of opportunities to watch it.
I don't have it immediately available, but under 24 hours ago, I received a Blu-ray for A Bullet in the Head. So we're getting the same stuff here.
Oh, I pre-ordered that actually, so there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually and Hard Boiled, of course. Now all we need is Hero Shed No Tears, and then we have like our quadrupology about I don't know. Anyway, but I definitely plan to do more Hong Kong stuff in the future because it's fun and I'm really warming up to it. But yeah, for now this has been a great episode. James, thank you once again for doing this with me as the last episode before my summer hiatus. And before we properly close off, where can people find you?
You can find me at Italian Poliziotteschi and Jolly Reviews, where I'm a little bit inactive right now, but hope to get back to it sometime soon.
There you go. Look him up and give him a like. Subscribe to his channel because he makes really great content. So there you go. And with that out of the way, let's close this off. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching who have been here. I'll be back with more videos down the line eventually because, again, summer is it's crazy. But I'll be back as soon as I can. I might drop some videos here and there, occasionally pre-recorded, but, we'll see what happens. But for now, again, thank you for listening and watching. We'll be back as soon as I can. Stay safe and healthy as always. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. And I'll see and talk to you guys hopefully very, very soon. And James will be in touch for sure. Okay. So anyway, with that down, thanks everybody. And James, thanks for being here. So bye everyone. Ciao. See ya. Bye.